Lovely bit of squirrel. A lovely bit of squirrel. A lovely bit of squirrel.
Hello Bambinos, welcome to A Lovely Bit of Squirrel, a Friday night dinner podcast. You're probably wondering yourself, Tom, I've seen enough of your stuff now across your 10 YouTube channels and your newly rebranded 10th channel, Gogglebox World, and I want to know this. I've seen you with this microphone, and why are you not doing every podcast with a microphone? Well, if a tap tap here and a tap tap there, as you can hear, there's a microphone on top of this, an external one. I want to know, is that a good quality microphone to know whether or not it works well for a podcast? Now, the intro you've seen is the same intro from episode 2. I'm just going to leave it as it is now. It's a tribute to Paul Ritter, and it's a good intro. So, today we're talking about Friday Night Dinner, Series 3. No, Series 1, Episode 3. On my iPad below, I have some notes that I made whilst watching the episode. We'll read through them first, and then I'll elaborate on my thoughts. This was the first episode that we see Jackie. We also have learned with my notes that I make spelling errors, and we learn whilst we're on the job. So, this was the first episode that we see Jackie's mother. The grandma, not the evil grandma. I don't think the grandma is the best character. The episode was not the best episode in the series, but was also not the worst. Martin sneezing is the worst bit of the episode because it's disgusting and because you see it shot out, but you don't see whereabouts it lands, which is a little bit confusing because if you're going to sneeze, you have to have a direction of where the snot's going to come from if there's snot coming out. Which obviously, but it is gross. My only problem with Johnny and Adam's in this, the only problem with Johnny and Adam in this episode is that they sound a little bit ungrateful when they get a present from their grandma. Yes, when they get the purses, wallets, whatever we're gonna call them, because grandma calls them purse and everyone else calls them wallet. They seem really aggressive, like, oh, thanks, a wallet, a purse, oh. Thanks, Grandma. Open it. Oh, a pound. Oh, thanks, Grandma. And then Martin like, oh. I'm gonna try and do an impressionist person. Oh, a wallet. It's a purse. £1. Thanks, Grandma. Even though it's not his grandma. And then Jackie gets nothing, which is really awful of Grandma. The other bits I hate is how Grandma has forgotten to get Jackie a present. There is not much comedy in this episode because of all the arguments. Jimmy is the best character of the episode and the entire show. The episode did have a happy ending until Adam made Grandma faint. My final thoughts, episode 3 was not the best episode, but also not the worst. What do I mean by episode 3 was also the best episode? Well, it wasn't the best, but it also wasn't the worst. What do I mean, viewers? Listeners? What do I mean? What do I mean? Sorry for viewers, I was trying to emphasise that I was confused with what I mean. Just to give one to this episode, because normally I'm like rushing through it. And also just for comical context. Yeah. Now, podcast viewers, listeners alike, have you seen the episode? If you haven't and you've got this far, I do apologise. So, let's read my notes again, but this time stop at the hurdles. So we've already mentioned about the ungrateful grandma, but let's talk about my thoughts on there is not much comedy in this episode because of all the arguments. So if I highlight that, right, just so I know which statement I'm talking about, for my own personal look at, you can't see my iPad, either way. So, there is not much comedy in this episode because of all the arguments. There's not much comedy. Where does comedy? Let's find out what the definition of comedy is, to begin with. Is there a way of me exiting this without losing that highlight? Right, let's see what the definition of comedy is. Comedy, definition. Right, I'm googling comedy definition. So, comedy. Professional entertainment consisting of jokes and sketches intended to make an audience laugh. And another version of it is a play characterised by its hilarious or satirical tone, and it depends on the humouring people or in incidents in which the character ultimately triumphs over adversity. Shakespeare's comedies is an example. So that is what Google says is our definition of comedy. So having that said, are arguments funny? In this episode, arguments don't tend to go with the laugh out loud, hee hee ha ha ho ho ha 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 ho 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 Jimmy Carr impression there. Laughing because it's like, oh, why are you so mean? Or you dropped that, oh, you idiot. Oh, it's like, oh no, or type of thing. And I don't find arguments funny. In certain sitcoms, the argument is funny because of what the argument's about. But because this is like an upset mother and her life is like falling apart, she's not happy with her life, and everything that's happening in this Friday night isn't making her life any better. And so it's sort of like Mr. Bean is funny because he gets himself into these situations, and if it makes him a little bit unhappy, we still find it funny because it's how he started this situation. But because it all begins with Johnny and Adam walking through the door, and the event of that week has already, I've got an itchy back, let me itch me back, of that week has already been and gone, then it's hard to sort of invest in the comical bits of the joke to do with the argument. Tamsin Gregg is a fantastic actress or actor. She is very good. I'm gonna have another itchy back. She's very good at her job. She plays Jackie in Friday Night Dinner, and she plays another character in Episodes, which is an amazing program. But White, which is the chef program, was a little bit better than Episodes. I'm gonna have another itchy back. Sorry. So it's hard to like work out where comedy comes from in its comical. I feel that the episode was not the best but not the worst because of all the arguments. So there you have it. This is my thoughts on Friday Night Dinner Series 1 Episode 3. Future of the podcast. Once the show's ended, we will end the podcast and move on to another podcast. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you guys for listening. Bye.
Lovely bit of squirrel. A lovely bit of squirrel. A lovely bit of